This is Matthew Cratter from Trade University, and today I want to talk about how China just banned Bitcoin for the 444th time. I picked this number very carefully. 4 is considered an unlucky number in Chinese culture because the word for sounds very similar to the word for death. But if you've been following the news over the last few years, you realize that China really has banned Bitcoin many times. Here's an article from 2013. It looks very similar to articles from today, but this is from December of 2013 when China's central bank barred financial institutions from handling Bitcoin. They went on to do it anyway. Bitcoin back in December of 2013 was when this was announced. It plunged 20% below 1,000. And since that time, since December of 2013, China has repeatedly struck out against Bitcoin. And what is the result? Bitcoin is up 40x from that point. Right now, it looks like China really is cracking down on Bitcoin. And what has happened? Is Bitcoin below 1,000? No, it's still up 40x from where it was. Here's another article from 2017 when China again banned Bitcoin and was saying that cryptocurrency exchanges there could not exist, not just Bitcoin, but other cryptocurrencies. Here we are in 2021, and you can expect China to keep banning Bitcoin and the market to keep dropping. I imagine when Bitcoin's at $200,000, it's going to fall to $180,000 because of the latest 2022 China ban. We saw this as well earlier this year when China began to kick out all the Bitcoin miners. This has been very good for Bitcoin's hash rate and its security. These Bitcoin miners have moved all over the world, many of them moving to places like Texas and Wyoming, which is, it's nice, I think, to have more of the hash rate in the US. But it doesn't matter. Bitcoin doesn't care. You can ban it. You can kick out the miners. You can even try to confiscate their machines. But Bitcoin keeps on building a new block every 10 minutes. There's a pretty cool link here that I'll share that I believe is an actual announcement from the People's Bank of China, the Chinese central bank, talking about this ban that happened today. So you can choose to read it in Mandarin or English. I'm choosing to read it in English. Basically, what they're saying is that they're very concerned that China might be used, that Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies might be used for pyramid schemes and fraud and gambling and money laundering. So they're definitely, like the Chinese government, like the CCP always does, they really care about their people. That's why they often will lock them in buildings and put them in prison, etc. So this government announcement clarifies virtual currencies do not have the same legal status as the regular fiat currency, and they do particularly call out Bitcoin, Ethereum, and something called Tether, which I assume is just this mistranslation of Tether. In other words, USDT. Virtual currency-related business activities are legal financial activities. So basically, you cannot buy or sell anything using Bitcoin, at least legally. Not that that can really stop anyone. Provision of services by overseas virtual currency exchanges. So this is basically saying overseas crypto exchanges cannot offer services or trade with Chinese residents, etc. Those are the basic things. So what this does is it really clarifies previous bans, and it piles on to banning Bitcoin mining, to really extending it to banning all transactions, all cryptocurrency transactions. In true Bloomberg fashion, Bloomberg, of course, sides with the Chinese communists and says China has long expressed displeasure with crypto because of its ties to fraud, money laundering, and excessive energy usage. It's actually unbelievable that a US website like this could actually use this as the reason for why China is banning Bitcoin and use this as the reason that it explains to its readers. It's very clear to anyone who understands the Chinese system why China is actually doing this. They do not care about ESG. I can assure you the Chinese Communist Party is willing to violate ESG standards to take over the US and Europe. They also don't care about corruption and money laundering, since the entire system in China is based on that. The reason China is really cracking down on cryptocurrencies now, and especially on Bitcoin, is because Bitcoin is one of the few ways you can really opt out of a totalitarian system. where you can stand outside the money, you can stand outside the monitoring to an extent. And that's the real reason that Beijing does not like Bitcoin. It's not because of some ESG violation, as Bloomberg would have us believe. If you haven't read up on Chinese social credit scores, it's very important to understand what's happening there. You have various scores. There's a Sesame credit score, and basically, depending on how you behave, you better not criticize the government, you better follow all government orders, you better be a good worker, etc. You better not associate with the wrong people. If your credit score drops too low, you're going to find it very difficult to have friends or keep a job, and your perimeter, the area in which you can wander, is much smaller. If you're a good Chinese Communist Party member and you have a high social credit score, it's easier to move from one city to another. You can move up the ranks of the CCP. You can get better, more higher paying jobs. So China is actively using AI and big data to monitor its people. And the crackdown on cryptocurrency is a way of tightening this down further. I like this meme. I've showed it before. Mao and Lamao basically make fun of Chinese leaders, Chinese Communist Party leaders, and get something. Watch your social credit score fall. Now, this would be of less concern if the U.S. were not rapidly moving to a similar system. So China has this sort of wildcat, Wild West, I should say, free market capitalism on one level, and then it can be shut down or modified at any time the Chinese Communist Party wants it to be modified. The U.S. is moving towards something similar. We'll have pseudo free markets, but we will have social credit scores here too. And I believe Europe, Australia is obviously well down this path. New Zealand, Canada, the Commonwealth, Europe, the EU, and the United States, all moving towards this. And we're already seeing this happening. Big tech has already begun to work together with the U.S. government to track and subjugate you. Apple has violated their long-standing policy and said we're going to care much less about privacy, and we're going to scan your photos, and we're going to turn over information to the U.S. government. They're doing it under the guise of stopping child exploitation, which I'm definitely in favor of. This should be cracked down on, but they're using that as the backdoor to crack down on everything and to basically monitor iPhone users' every move and reserve the right to report that to the government. And I'm not fine with that. You can prosecute crimes, don't prosecute and monitor ordinary people. So there are two prongs to this. There's a social credit score system that is rapidly coming to the U.S. Then there's also the end of cash in the U.S. The U.S. government and the Federal Reserve in particular do not like cash because it's a very private form of money. So they're going to pretend that it's all covered with dirty germs and this is why we need to get rid of it or something like that. But we're rapidly moving towards a central bank digital currency in the U.S. They already have this in China, where everyone has a wallet and it contains the official government cryptocurrency. And this is used to track you. You can track all of your income, all of your spending, all of your movement. So this two-pronged thing where you track all of the data using big tech, your email, your social networking, your online posts, and then you also control the money as well. So this is my biggest concern for the next 10 years in the U.S., particularly a tightening noose of government control and tracking. So let's say you don't want to put a needle in your arm for whatever reason, your USD wallet gets turned off or deducted. Again, we're not talking about digital cash like where you send someone a Venmo. We're talking about an actual blockchain on which the US dollar lives. And there's much, much more tracking associated with that. So that's what a CBDC is. It's not just a regular digital dollar. It's a very smart version of it. And the Fed, as we're going to see, is in the process of developing this and following in China's shoes or in China's steps. If you vote for the wrong candidate, and you may vote for the right candidate today, but 10 years from now, it will appear or it will be the general public opinion that you voted for a very bad person. Maybe if you purchase a self-defense tool, your USD wallet could get turned off. Imagine having your money saved, the net result of your labor and your sweat, and hard work over many years, and all of a sudden it just gets frozen, because it's not just like freezing a bank account. You can actually freeze your excuse me, your cryptocurrency wallet. So the question to ask yourself is, are you preparing for this Orwellian world? The world of social credit scores is coming to the US. I have no doubt about that. And it's going to be this unholy alliance between the US government and big tech. And the screws are going to be tightening on everyone. In case you think it's just a rumor that the Fed, the U.S. central bank, is moving towards a central bank digital currency, no, this is in the works. We're very slow as a country, which in this case is good. China is much further down the line on this, but this is definitely coming, because it's the most amazing tool of control if you're the one in power. We already have. I've talked about this in a previous video. Here's a private tech company that scans restaurant patrons and bar patrons and collects personal data on them, basically in order to, they say it's in order to monitor bad customers. But again, all this data can be pooled and used to discriminate against people on the basis of whatever the ruling power wants to, whether it's race, gender, political ideology, who you voted for many years ago, an email that you sent 10 years ago that may have contained an off-color joke. Any of this can be used to crack down on you. In New York State, New York insurers are already using your social media accounts to deny coverage or to charge you a higher premium. So this is coming. It's a clear violation of the Bill of Rights in the U.S. Constitution, but that doesn't matter, because those things have been denied and are being slowly dismantled, unfortunately. If you want a more in-depth version of this hypothesis, you can watch this video here. The Endgame is here, Humanity Hard Fork, in which I talk about how the entire world is splitting into two tribes. The tribe of sheeple, who are going to be controlled by their governments and use CBDCs, and then the tribe of what you might call freeple or free people, who are going to try to exist outside of the system and use a decentralized form of money like Bitcoin. It's really the only decentralized form of money, and use this as a way of fighting back against the social credit scoring system that is coming to the US and Europe very soon. If you found this video helpful, be sure to hit that subscribe and like button. Hit the notification bell if you want to be notified when I publish my next video. And let me know your questions and comments in the comment section below. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.